Go through the lists.
Yes, let's do that. David, can you go and make sure that who we're gonna have on the left, who we're gonna have on the right? Let's have John set up on the Death Star side, please.
Okay. Yep. Okay, and if you can ask them also to hold the cards up close to the damage cards. Yep. Right, fantastic. While he's doing that, Elliot is just setting up the stream here. Now, the thing is, I know both of these players, which means I may occasionally refer to them by their nicknames as well.
That's fine, because I don't know much about them.
We have John Cactus McPhillips, if we can chuck these in here. So John Cactus McPhillips.
I probably put MP, but I can't put Cactus.
Okay. And we have Robin Jarvel Farndon.
Jarvel, okay.
Who was on our stream watching last night, on Wednesday night. VAL.
VAL.
Yeah. So Robin Jarvel Farndon.
First name and nickname, there we go.
There we go, yep. Fantastic, that'll do the job.
Get rid of that. Jeez. Yeah, just have first name and nickname.
Okay, so who do you want first?
Let's have John. So what's John flying?
So John McPhillips, or Cactus as he's also known, is flying a scum list. In fact, both of these are flying scum lists. So first of all,
scum.
We have going in order: pilot skill, Bosk, pilot skill 7.
Awesome.
And Bosk, of course, in his YV666, or the Flying Brick, as it is often popularly known.
I love that ship. I really do. I love the design of it. It's very, although it's something funny about it, it's very Star Wars in the way it looks. Which some of the ships you can argue don't look very Star Wars. Some people have certainly said that to me. I actually really like. I'm a big fan of the EU, and I love the YV666.
It's interesting. Yeah, a friend of mine who's also flying today refers to it in the same way that Douglas Adams referred to Vogon constructor fleet ships. They fly in exactly the same way that bricks don't. They hang in the air in exactly the same way that bricks don't. Good comparison, I think.
Good comparison, yes. Yeah, okay. I concur with that.
But Bosk is in his YV666, and Bosk is equipped with calculation. Bosk's special ability is
a favourite card of mine.
Yeah. Bosk's special ability is that when he hits an opponent, he can change one crit into 2 normal hits. So he can really punch that damage out if he's got a crit to spend. Especially useful when you're hitting shields and the crit wouldn't do anything extra anyway. So calculation, you can spend a focus token to generate a crit on your attack. So of course there's a really nice matchup there, isn't there?
Yeah, with calculation, the K4 security druid actually adds a
target lock when you do a green manoeuvre. So obviously he wants some independent dice modification as well.
Yeah.
And then he's also got an outlaw tech, because Bosk in his YV666 has loads of crew slots. Yeah. And the outlaw tech, interestingly, when you do a red manoeuvre, you get a focus token, which can, of course, then be used to power the calculation.
Perfect.
So there's some very nice synergy there. If he does a red manoeuvre or a green manoeuvre, he'll get a offensive action of some kind, and then Bosk, if he hits, Bosk can punch a lot of damage through there.
Yeah, that's a very powerful build, I can see that.
Absolutely, and then combine that with 12 hit points. That's a really hefty ship.
Yeah, although let's mention that the YV66 does turn like a brick.
It does also turn like a brick. It's not as bad as a shuttle.
Not as bad as a shuttle.
But if it wants to do a hard turn, only the 3 hard turn is white.
Yes.
And no engine upgrade on there, so it doesn't have any post-manoeuvre manoeuvre options.
No, but with the 180 auxiliary arc, it does give it a bit more
absolutely, and that
wide arc of fire.
That 180 arc can really come in handy sometimes. Okay, so alongside that, we have Nadru Salak flying his custom Z95 Headhunter. Now, I do happen to know that Cactus has it custom painted, his Headhunter, so perhaps we'll ask Dave to pop through and ask him to hold it up for the camera in a little bit.
Hopefully we can have that done.
Absolutely. And his Nadru Salak's ability is that when he is not within range 1 to 2 of friendly ships, he gains bonuses. I'm trying to remember exactly what those bonuses are. Is it he rolls an additional attack dice?
I believe he does roll an additional attack dice.
Absolutely. And then he has as his pilot skill Lone Wolf, which is when you're not within range 1 to 2 of friendly ships, you then get to re-roll 1 dice on attack and defence. It's a perfect synergy, isn't it?
Yeah, that does sound really good.
Okay.
Personally.
Add in some glitter stim, so he can pop that once in the game, and that turn, every single focus he rolls on attack or defence is automatically changed into a hit or an evade as required, although it does come at the cost of a stress.
For stress, that's a very powerful manoeuvre, though.
Absolutely. And the reason he's got that is he's also equipped with cluster missiles and guidance chip. So really good synergy here. Cluster missiles give you 2 3-dice attacks, which if Nadru's ability is kicking in is 2 4-dice attacks. Combine it with the guidance chips to modify one of those attacks, the glitter stim to make focuses on each of those attacks work, and Lone Wolf to give you some re-rolls, and that's potentially one hell of an alpha strike, isn't it?
That is one hell of an alpha strike.
Absolutely. Now the downside is he also is on his own, which means he's very vulnerable to being, shot to pieces.
Yeah, that does tend to happen.
Okay.
In my experience with C95s.
Indeed. And then finally we have Palab Godali in his Hawk 290.
Again, another favourite ship of mine.
Fantastic. And Palab's ability is he can steal a focus or an evade token from an enemy ship within range 1 to 2.
So not only do you get a buff, your opponent gets a debuff as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Then there's few things more frustrating than having your tokens stolen in that way. Palab is equipped with the 0-point Elite Pilot Talent adaptability, so he can go down to Pilot Skill 4 or up to Pilot Skill 6. It's free, why not? And he's also equipped with a dorsal turret. Interestingly, first time I've seen a dorsal turret in use.
Yeah.
It's a cheap turret, which is probably why it's in there. It's a 2-dice attack at range 3, range 2, and a 3-dice attack at range 1.
Do you want to put your tongue back in your mouth?
I think it's somewhere still on the floor. Give me a second just to find it. Okay, so this is a really good debuffer. It's not got the most damaging turret, but enemies have to be very aware. Now, interestingly, this has got some synergy versus Robin Founden's list. And Robin is flying also a scum list. He's also flying Nadru Salak.
This is going to be fun.
With cluster missiles. And Glitter Stim and Guidance Chips and Lone Wolf. So we have 2 absolutely identical Nadru Salaks on the board, would you believe? Dave, we're just saying,
chances?
We believe Cactus, John McPhillips, has a custom painted Nadru Salak.
Ooh.
Could you ask him to hold it up to the camera for sort of 20 seconds or so that we get a good look at it?
Oh, okay.
Thank you, David.
I'm not going to go into any more detail with Nadru Salak there because we know what he does now. So 2 ships, both on the same side, with good alpha strikes. But Robin is running a couple of contracted scouts, and I know he's a massive fan of these ships.
Yes, they have been they are the new terror of the board right now.
They are indeed, and the scouts are both. No, they're not quite identical. Both of them have Deadeye, so they can fire their munitions using a. There we go.
Look at that.
Yeah, fantastic. Excellent shot there. Yep. So there's the nose art, and there you can see he's got the jaws on there. Fantastic job, yeah.
Brilliant job.
There you go. You can see the teeth, can't you?
I love a good old painted ship. I'm terrible
Definitely.
at painting myself, but I love great painted ships.
Ditto. Yes. Right. So, but the scouts have extra munitions with plasma torpedoes, so they get 2 shots with their plasma torpedoes apiece. They've also got guidance chips, which is really one of the things that's making ordnance so popular these days.
I think it's probably one of the most popular modifications in this tournament, perhaps.
Probably right. And then they've got slightly different mechs. One of them has an R4 agromech. After spending a focus token, you can acquire a target lock on the defender. Really useful because it combines with Deadeye. You spend a focus to attack with Deadeye with your torpedoes.
Of course.
And then you've still got a target lock to modify your dice, plus the guidance chips. And we saw this on Wednesday. These things hit very hard. They are very likely to do 3 or 4 hits on anything they shoot at, aren't they?
I think we're going to see Cactus's list completely dominated by the 2 scouts. I think it's quite possible we'll see that.
I think it's a possibility there, yeah. And then the second scout has something slightly similar. He's got an overclocked R4. When you spend a focus token, you can receive a stress to assign a focus token to your ship. So it's similar synergy, but it does cost a stress to do it. Presumably that's because of the points values. However, there is one advantage that Cactus does have against those scouts.
And what's that?
Palab Godali. If he can steal a focus token, suddenly that scout can't fire its torpedoes in the first place.
You have a very good point there. It is, of course, only one scout he can steal from, but it's still a denial which he can get. He can avoid quite a lot of damage from.
Absolutely.
And especially, it's kind of also the point of, well, which ship has he got in trouble? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take the focus away from the one that's puffing.
It also
on that
means,
ship.
it kind of means Robin has to play a bit more safe. He needs to possibly try and go for those target locks when he can.
Yeah, indeed.
So at least then he has something.
Yeah, and in addition, don't forget that YV666. Yes, it's going to take a hell of a lot of damage from those torpedoes, but the thing is, with 12 hit points, 6 shields, 6 hull, it can actually tank that damage to start with very well. Robin would have to hit it with all 3 ships and all 3 sets of missiles in one round in order to take it down, unless he's very, very lucky with his crits.
It is possible, though. It is
possible.
very unlikely, but
Yeah.
possible.
So ideally, the interesting thing is here, Cactus really wants to be in close range. Palagadali's ability only works at range 1 to 2. Boss ability works whenever, but Boss wants to punch maximum damage down. Doesn't really gain from being at range 3. 2 defense dice rather than 1 isn't that much of a difference when you're talking about the plasma torpedoes.
Not really, no.
Whereas Robin really wants to be at long range. He doesn't want to be in close range of Palagadali or Bosk. He's going to be thinking about sticking at range 2 or, if he can, range 3, where he gets the maximum torpedo benefit.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that's going to be the key here. Whoever controls their range most effectively in the first run-in. If Jarvel manages to get those range 3 shots in without that much in the way of reply, then I would say the game can probably has a very good chance of being called for him. Meanwhile, if Cactus manages to stop just outside range 3, then do a run into range 2 or range 1, suddenly he's got the big advantage there.
Well, it's going to be an interesting game, that's to be sure. And as you can see, the players are just set up. The overlay is nearly ready to go. So hopefully by asteroid and I think we're just about to get asteroid deployment right now. You can see at the bottom of the board, 3 asteroids being placed down in preparation.
Absolutely, yep.
And here we go.
There's a debris field as well.
Interesting to see debris being played. It's not often you see that. When, of course, difference being that if you land on debris, you can still fire. You may take a crit, but you also get a stress token.
Absolutely, and that stress can be a killer for some ships, and so what for others. Tycho Chechlu often loves debris fields, as of course does Dash Renmar, who can just ignore them effectively. But even then, you've got to be careful about your assumptions. I played Tycho once with lots of debris fields on the board, and the first 2 times I passed over debris field, I rolled 2 crits.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely.
Was that Bon Voyage?
Not quite, but it was certainly his shields down, and he died soon afterwards.
Ooh.
You know, that makes me wish that Adam Wright was here. I know he was planning on playing a Bon Voyage list, which included a lot of...
Ordnance bombs.
No, not bombs. We're talking Dead Man switches.
Oh!
Ah!
There come in several versions of names.
Explosion ahoy!
Yes. Well, that's not the list of the names that we know it by, but...
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been
so,
nice to
given
see.
the fact that there are a lot of big ships on this board, I'm surprised to see quite large asteroid choices by the players involved.
Yeah, so as we saw this on Wednesday again, those big ships take up a lot of space, and especially once you get to the 120 and 150 point marks, the board can get extremely crowded indeed, especially when you're used to the 100. But they obviously think it's going to give them some kind of advantage. So we'll see how it plays. So Classic going for the asteroid in the sort of the nearest the corners set up there. There goes the next one in the same kind of location. And one debris field in the top right hand corner, and then the last 2 will have to go somewhere in the middle.
One thing I would have done though, if for me running debris fields, I would make sure on my side I have a load of iron turrets. Because then you lock that ship down and then not be able to do a green manoeuvre to clear stress, with the exception of Tycho.
Yeah. Now, looking at this, it doesn't look like there's going to be that much in the way of finesse around the sides. I think it looks like they're going for a head-on clash here.
Yes. If they do go down the sides, they're vying to go through those asteroids, and that just makes them predictable where they're going to go.
Absolutely. And we saw in the previous game how those asteroids can really change matters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, as it is, we're now getting into the setup phase. So probably not quite as good a setup for Cactus because he doesn't have a clear run through the middle, whereas Jarvel has a bit more in the way of choice about where he wants to go, at least to start with, wouldn't you say?
What do you think, Dave?
From my point of view, I'd probably look down the middle with this.
But do you want to be jousting with scouts? That's the question. Because I don't think it'd be wise. I mean, your ship's not exactly manoeuvrable when it comes down to the Hawk or for the YV, so you're not going to go. You're not going anywhere fast. Yeah. However, you don't want to go head on with the scouts.
No, absolutely not. And the interesting thing though is that Cactus has a bit more in the way of manoeuvre freedom simply because he's got 2 small base ships and 1 large, rather than vice versa.
That is true.
That Bosk's brick does kind of overhang, but its actual base size isn't any worse than any other big base ship.
No.
He also usefully has the pilot skill advantage. Counting out the identical Nadrusalaks on opposite sides of the field, both Palov Gadali and Bosk are higher pilot skills than those scouts. They get to shoot first, and more importantly, Jarvel has to do his manoeuvres without knowing where where the other ships are going to be.
It's interesting to also tell that Cactus actually has initiative in this because he's actually running at 89 comparative to Robin's 90 points.
Absolutely.
So the fact that Nadru will fire before Robin's Nadru.
I'm assuming he's chosen to do that.
Yes, I agree. Assuming he has chosen the initiative.
Can you go and check initiative?
Please do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As mentioned, there are definitely situations where you want to move after your opponent, but generally they're with the higher manoeuvrability ship, so you can react to your opponent's end position. I agree here. For those pilot skill 7s, he'll probably want to shoot first because that gives him the advantage, especially with the amount of damage those scouts can pump out.
Interesting setup from Nadru there, from Cactus on the left.
Ah, yes. So obviously he wants to make sure that Nadru stays away from his friends. And Jarvel on the right, he's got a choice as well. And another wrong way facing setup. So the way they're set up there, I think it's unlikely the Nadrus will meet. Otherwise, they could meet in an matter-antimatter explosion.
Oh, dear.
Which one do you think is the evil twin and which one is the real one?
Oh, clearly the fake is the one without the paint job.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. So Jarvel's one is fake.
Initiative is the way it's been called there. So.
Yeah. So Cactus is going to be doing everything first for equal pilot skills, which is Bosk, Nadru, and Nadru. Okay. So
anyway, it's 2 to 1, and having
absolutely. So dials are being set. Now, interestingly, Bosk is right at the top of the field. Now, that's an interesting choice. I would have thought Cactus would want to control his speed a bit more, because the thing to remember is you can go faster with straight manoeuvres than you can with the turns, because you have access to a 4 straight and you've only got access to a 3 bank or a 3 turn. So I think we're going to see a bank from Boskin, and I think Cactus is going to try and control the speed in the middle of the board, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I concur there.
Okay.
I like that the dorsal turret is also coming into play for Palob. I think I prefer dorsal over twin laser personally.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, Nadrusalak is going to go down towards the bottom of the board.
Yeah.
Now, that does raise a danger, though. If those scouts decide to shoot Nadrusalak first, he could be in real trouble.
It could be the case.
Maybe it's a cunning plan. Maybe his first turn he's going to do a Dave Clark special and turn right or turn to his left to move into the middle of the board.
Could do that, yeah. I mean, remember, you don't have to use Nadru's ability. Sometimes it's worth not doing so if it gives you the best position. But it's a difficult call. It's but if that's not what your opponent suspects, then that might be the right thing to do. But as it is, at least for the moment, those scouts are turned in. But of course, they can very easily turn left again. They are really good at turning left.
I think that's the only thing that they're good at. Personally.
Absolutely. So then it goes to Palav Gadali. Straightforward. So that means that Bosk isn't going to do a turn or a bank either, unless he's willing to do a deliberate bump. It's possible. At this stage, it wouldn't be really a problem, but it's less likely.
You know, I'd like to meet a salesman who can sell a jump master. List a little bit to the left.
Yes, definitely. Right, so Nadrusalak here, straight manoeuvre. Yep, so he's getting set up for the turn next turn. Now, worth remembering, those cluster missiles on Nadrus, they're only range 1 to 2. If Nadrusalak finds himself at range 3 of a scout, he's going to take a lot of damage.
R4, please.
Yes. Okay. Yep. So, and there comes Bosk. So, that's an interesting one, because the problem is with that asteroid, Cactus can't really turn in well next turn instead of
No, that does make it awkward for the YV.
Yeah.
Maybe this is another instance where we see the game called before it's even played out.
I don't think it's at that stage yet, but it is. It could constrain his manoeuvring a little bit. Yeah. One thing I often like doing, especially when I've got A-wings or similar, is setting up as if you're going to go down that corridor and then turning in to fox your opponent.
That's a brilliant ploy. I do like doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant to kind of lull your opponent to false sense of security.
It is.
What's the score, Mr. David?
The one that's to the right of the asteroid as we look at it is the one with the overclock.
Okay, so that's the
That's the
overclock.
overclock one, yeah.
That's number 3 and it's
Yeah.
number 2. Okay.
There we go. Can we add something to the numbers? Is it possible to look at the number of plasma torpedoes they've got at the moment? Put a star behind after them or something like that, because that's one thing it's really easy to lose track of.
That's true, yes.
And the Drews, it's not so bad because once they've done their shot, it's easy to remember. But for the plasma torpedoes, we lost track of what torpedoes were still left
On Wednesday.
on Wednesday, didn't we?
That's a good
And we
point.
kept thinking that a scout would try and turn to get a torpedo shot when in fact it couldn't actually shoot its torpedoes annifore.
Well, the actual one that we were calling at the time actually didn't have any
Done.
torpedoes left.
Yeah, okay.
The overlay will be up in just a second, guys. Also adding the last few upgrades.
Yep. Okay, so so there's the first round. Obviously, no shooting there. Now, interesting. Do you think those scouts will go for a fast run in to try and get range,
Given how
or do you think they'll play cautious?
I think given that they caught Boba, they've caught Bosk unaware. I think they're going to try and rush in there and deal as much as they can very quickly.
Yeah, I think so too. If both of those scouts do a 4 forward, they're going to be in range of something. It's going to be very hard for them not to be. They might even get a shot on the Drew Salak if he decides to turn in. That scout, that bottom scout, scout number 2, could really do a number. He could even one-shot Nadru, especially if Nadru doesn't get to cluster missile him first.
Yeah, that is
if he's
true.
at range 3, yeah.
And there's the overlay up on the screen right there, so you can clearly see what we're dealing with.
Oh no, interesting. That scout is obviously decided to go for Nadru. But what it might mean is that if Nadru does turn in, he's going to be outside range 3 and therefore almost guaranteed to do a run in for range 1 or 2 next turn.
Which would be great for him.
Yeah, controlling your range on the initial run in is one of the key skills of X-Wing.
That's what you said.
It's and outfoxing your opponent. Matches are often won or lost in this first round. So obviously they've decided to concentrate against Naru, taking advantage of the fact that Bosk isn't in a position to come in and help him out for a turn or 2.
Yeah, I do think that they're trying to catch Nadru unawares here. I'm not sure whether it's wise just having the Nadrus marked, but we'll have that there for clarity.
Well, we might lose them at some point during the game.
It's more for anyone who joins us later on in the game. And there's a 2-turn from the Hawk there. I thought that was a red for the Hawk.
No,
3 is.
The 3 is. Yeah,
3
but the
is.
Hawk isn't as bad as the Shuttle. The Shuttle has red turns.
Yes.
To actually be fair, there isn't very much red on the dial, but I think... Well,
It's not very maneuverable.
That's because there's not very much on the dial at all.
Exactly. There's no
I
case,
think that's out.
I think that is just out.
Now that's actually quite good for Cactus because it means that. Oh no, it is in.
He's declaring there was
declaring
none.
that there's
Okay,
none, so-
yeah, fantastic. No, so that is good for Cactus because it means that no matter what happens, he has a very good chance of getting in range 1 to 2 next turn.
That is very good.
Yeah.
point.
Now the interesting is going to be, and if so, he can steal that focus token. That's not going to fire.
That's not gonna fire a
torpedo.
yeah.
Part of me, does Pelb have Moldy Crow?
He doesn't have Moldy Crow as a
No.
title, no.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, because you're
Yeah.
not constantly gaining focus a lot of the time,
There we
you're not really banking it for most time. When
Okay.
you take it, you steal
There,
it.
so K4
There we go,
Scooter,
K4
I
Scooter.
think it's probably going to be out of range, but he's very helpful that they're showing us now.
Yes, so
reminding
K4,
it.
clearly out of range, no target lock is declared, however, he's going to take a focus action.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he'll do a 3 bank next turn to try and get in range if possible. So, did he decide to turn the Drew in? No, so that's quite handy for Cactus actually. It means that the Drew is well out of range, but when he turns the next turn, he's almost certainly going to be in range for those cluster missiles. Jarvel will have to turn away if he doesn't want to be in range. And if he wants a plasma
And of course, he
torpedo
wants to
shot,
fire those plasmas.
he's going to have to come in close.
Thing is,
Or does he just go bold for it? Does he actually just possibly do
I personally think that Jarvel's made a bit of a mistake. Going for the Drew, even with the plasma torps,
Yeah, Cactus has outfoxed him here,
Yeah.
hasn't he? He's This is what we're talking about, controlling the range. By stopping just outside range 3, he can guarantee a run into his perfect range, which is 1 to 2 next turn.
yeah. I mean, if I...
Possibly not with Bosk.
Bosk is probably the obvious target for those plasma torps. He's got so many shields to cut through. That would make the game much more easy to contend with.
Absolutely.
However...
As it is, it's looking pretty good for Cactus at the
Yeah,
moment.
I concur.
He's got a very good chance of running into range 2, where Palab Gadali and his abilities still tokens matters, and he gets his dorsal turret. His cluster missiles on the Drew Salak will work. If he's lucky, he might even get into range 1.
And because Jarvel's Nadru is completely out of the game at this point here. It means
Well,
that
he's going to have a shot on
yeah.
Bosk, but Bosk will probably have a shot on him. That 180 arc.
That 180, you can't never discount that 180 arc. It's very handy.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got some interesting stuff coming up. So this next turn will be warehouse. Now, I think most of it is pretty predictable. It's where those scouts are going to do. Does Jarvel keep going in on Nadru Salak? Does he take the bait and sort of keep going after that lone wolf down the corner there? Or does he ignore that, take Nadru's hits and try and turn in for shots on Bosk with those torpedoes? Bear in mind that he's going to have to take target locks with at least one of them, because otherwise Pala will steal that focus token, and if he steals that focus token,
no firing.
No plasma
torpedoes.
torpedoes anyway. Yeah.
And of course, the 2 dice attack is not great for the contracted scouts.
It's not. No.
I mean, we see how well that goes for TIE fighters, and although you get 360 attack with the contracted scouts,
it's an afterthought. So
Yeah.
their main hitting power is in those plasma torpedoes. So yeah, Cactus has, I think, very nicely outfoxed Jarvel here. This is going to be an interesting round to see, and I think this will be the round that sort of gives us an idea about who's actually on top.
Right, let's test my pronunciation. Hello to viewers in the stream, as we have Dr. Jekyll, Foxtrot 13, Higgy 301, Carnet, Galicious, Rogue Historian, and Tholian Rog. Thalian Rog, actually. So hello to you guys in the stream. We're hoping to get some more people, hopefully later on during the stream.
Absolutely. Today. Please make your comments. Thank you, Rogue Historian. So Robin's Nadru could do quite a number on Bosk the next turn.
That is quite true.
It is true. Now, worth noting, Bosk does fire first, but as long as Nadru has a shot and he hasn't taken a horrible crit...
But don't forget, Bosk has calculation. You can never... If you're careful with calculation, especially with Bosk's ability to turn one crit into 2 hits, that could very easily take Nadru out first turn.
Absolutely, yeah.
But just remember, you've got the same pilot skill, so regardless of what happens with Nadru, Nadru should be able to get to fire anyway.
Yeah. What I think is going to happen, though, I think Robin's Nadru is going to take a 1 forward to stay out of range 1. That's the key thing there. So there we go. There's the contracted scout. So by putting himself 1 forward, I think it's likely he'll get a plasma torpedo shot, but at the same time, when Nadru turns in, he will get those glitter stim missiles as well. And no matter what happens, and I think it's very likely that Pala will come in full speed, as much as a Hawk can go full speed.
Which is a 3 straight.
And he could do a 4.
He could do a 4.
His ability is not action dependent. So he's taking the target lock. He's obviously anticipated that focus token is going to be stolen. But what it means is that he's got to fire that plasma torpedo without any more dice modification than the guidance chip.
Yeah, and that may be difficult for him.
Yeah, it's probably not enough to save Nadru, but it could be. It could help. It might just be the difference, especially if Cactus does a 2 or 3 hard turn, which I think is what we're going to expect. There's an asteroid in the way.
Opted for a 3 forward there from the Hawk, not the 4 forward, not taking the stress. Obviously, you probably want to clear himself for actions in the future turn, or even get himself a bit more defensive this time, because quite possibly. And he's gone for a target lock.
Target lock. There's no point in storing focus tokens because he doesn't have the Hawk title. Target lock might help out next turn.
Agreed.
There we go. And is it a 2 or a 3 hard turn? That's going to be the obvious manoeuvre here, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Now
that is not what I was expecting. A K turn.
That is a very unusual point.
Now, interestingly,
could that have taken him out of range, number 3?
It's possible. It'd be marginal if it does. I suspect, to be honest, that he is still in range. I'm really surprised at that. I thought he'd be wanting to hit those glitter stim cluster missiles before he gets focused down. Remember?
However, don't forget, those contract scouts, they must turn right. They have to turn right. I mean, number 2, if it goes forward, it's probably going to land an asteroid. But banks left, it's going to be taking it further out of the game, which is not great for it.
Oh, now, interestingly, this slow manoeuvre from Bosk, I wasn't expecting that either.
Checking asteroids, see whether they've collided there. I'm not.
There
is a collision. That's terrible. And that's a crit, I believe.
You know, I would have said at the start of this round that Cactus was in the better position. I'm not as convinced now.
No, I think it's turned around for him here.
Yeah. So, Bosk is on the asteroid. A 3 bank would have been okay. However, he does still get a target lock. He just can't use it this turn. And I think he's going to try for Nadru if he possibly can, though. Yep, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, no, this is bad, though, because that Nadru is going to run in, get an unopposed shot on Bosk, and that could be a hell of a lot of damage out.
Especially since now that he's taken the target lock, Nadru could fly off behind him and get out.
And interestingly, Jarvel...
Oh.
Maybe
I was
a bit more of a
expecting a
bigger
slow
move.
roll for Max to stay at range 2. As it is, he's still at range 2.
Bit of a different ship.
Yeah, and that means that he's a lot further forward.
He's going for the Hawk.
Interesting. I must admit, I'm really surprised at that. I just thought that would be cluster
To
missiles.
be fair, it's...
Actually, Ark might have actually...
The Hawk is at range 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so he can't fire the cluster missiles because they're only range 1 to 2. He does have cluster missiles, doesn't he? Let me just check this is the case. Yes, he does have cluster missiles because that synergizes best with Nadru's ability.
It does, because the 2 dice attacks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, here we go. Got some shooting coming on this round. Yeah, I'm really surprised Cactus took that one.
This
back.
is really... It's gone from being Cactus' favour to completely the opposite direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at his choices that turn.
Because Cactus is probably going to move Bosk forward.
Now, the question is Nadru 2 distance away from his friend?
Yeah.
I don't think he is. I think that contractor scout is
yeah,
range 2.
I think that's range 2. That looks range 2 to me.
Yep, so 2 dice. Do you want to jump through and check?
Sorry, checking on what
Is Nat Nadru Salak within range 2 of... there we go.
now
So
checking,
there's
yes.
the check. Yeah. Only 2 dice. Okay.
Hit and focus.
Hitting a focus. And he's going to spend that target lock.
I would have thought so.
I would have thought so as well. Oh no, he's opting because the Hawk has only got one. Oh,
Yeah, two evade.
Yeah, it's got 2 evade. Yeah,
Yeah. So
and there's an evade, so there's nothing. So
I'm really surprised Jarvel didn't go for the Hound's Tooth while he had a chance.
as am I. I thought that'd be a key target.
Perfect target. Unopposed
Then again,
attack.
the angle could be wrong, and it may be that he's just out of arc. It's
possible,
unlikely,
yeah.
but
Or it might be range 3 in arc, given
Yes.
that it's when it meets the base, isn't it?
Yeah.
In which case, that's understandable. Yeah.
I doubt it'd be range 3 in arc. It's
Okay.
possible.
Next up, now this is the
Yeah.
tricky part. Palop has to shoot first, doesn't he? Because he's pilot skill 5.
Yes.
Or 6, 5.
There we go. So there's Palop Gadali. He can't shoot at range 3 because it's a dorsal turret, so he's going to have to go for the closer scout.
Have that maybe just within range 1.
Yeah. So I think I think it's range 2.
Yeah, I think they may have decided that's range 2 at this point.
Yeah,
Dorsal turret.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. No, yeah, there we go. So checked, but it is range 2. It is range 2.
So 2 dice attacks, rolling, and 1 hit.
1 hit. Is he going to spend the target lock? I would.
I would. It's
Yep, there we
Especially
go.
2 evades there, but no.
Chance to put some damage down early.
Yeah.
There,
There
2
we go.
hits.
2
There you
hits.
go. Can't see fairer than that. And there's 1 evade
One evade,
from the
so
contracted scout.
that
So
was-
the
that
third
was
scout
worth
loses.
it.
Yeah, 1 shield off the contracted scout.
Yep.
It's not much, but it's a shield, and that is going towards your game plan of taking down that
Absolutely.
ship.
Yeah. Okay, so then we come... Now, that Nadru at the bottom doesn't have any shots. So now it comes to the 2 scouts. This is the bit that's going to hurt. So that one is out of target lock range. So it's going to do a normal turret attack at range 2 on Palab Gadali.
We'll see whether Palov actually
Yeah.
can survive this.
So he's outfoxed that one. It's the second one I'm worried about. Okay, 1 hit. And
One
Hawk
hit.
does have 2 evade dice.
But there doesn't seem to be one there.
No, I think he's probably taking the damage there. Yep, 1 shield off.
1 shield off on Nadru.
Fantastic. Yeah, our players have been very good about showing us what they're doing here.
Very good.
That was something
Yeah.
that I explained to them, that they need to make it quite clear and
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
There we go. And now here comes the hard part. If that scout takes down Nadru Salag, and it can happen, 4 dice attack, 4 points of damage, then that is going to be a big blow for Cactus.
Agreed.
If he survives, even with 1 point of damage and no horrible crit, then he's almost guaranteed a shot next turn, which is going to do a number on one of those scouts.
So number 2 is firing its plasma torps.
Yeah, so basically Cactus has to hope he's lucky. Now, it does have a reroll on an evade dice.
Yeah.
Thanks to Lone Wolf, no one else is within range 2 here. But as it is, 4 dice. Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. Because guidance chips, and that's 3 natural hits and 1
Well,
crit, I
if
believe.
that is a bad roll from Nadru, we may be seeing Nadru go down.
Yeah,
Before
he
he's-
hasn't even acquired his target lock, has he? No, he has. Just can't see the blue. There's Nadru's dice. We can
That's
see
a
1.
an
That
evade.
is an evade. Now
So-
he can re-roll 1 because he's Nadru Salak. Are they going to remember that?
He should, unless he already has been rerolled. No, 2 shields have been taken off, and a damage card.
Oh, no.
No, Nadru.
Focus.
Did they do the re-roll, do you think?
I wouldn't know on that one, to be honest with you. I
Do you want to pop through and just check? Remind them that it works on defense.
Well, to be fair,
as
the
well.
ship has now been
Well,
removed.
it's been removed anyway, so
Yeah,
there's nothing we can do about
fair
that
enough. Yeah. Ouch! So that is a blow, and that's the danger from these contracted scouts.
Yeah.
They just hit like hammer blow, don't they? So real blow for Cactus. I'm really surprised that he did that K-turn.
So am I.
If he'd have done the turn in, he'd have guaranteed his cluster missiles off.
Yeah. Wait. It says it has to be a blank reroll. Do you have to re-roll it? I think it's a may.
So let's have it. Drusalak, you reroll one of your blank results. Yeah.
You may, so it's a may. So it's not a must, it's a may.
Yeah.
There's definitely one
So-
blank in there
and
anyway.
it might have been 2 focusers, and he
Yeah.
can't reroll the focus.
I think
focus.
there was one blank in there though, from what I could see.
The
but-
problem is that it was slightly off the board here, so we weren't entirely sure. Do you want to just pop through and check, see what the situation was?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's gone. It's too late.
Yeah.
We're just for interest's sake. Yeah.
Well, the game has moved well and truly towards Jarvel's favour at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. That is a really big blow for him. Now, at the very least, these contracted scouts do have to turn right, which isn't their forte, but they do still have white hard turns to the right. As it is, without getting any damage off from Nadru Salak, that was 25 points down, which in a 90-point game is a real blow, real point of damage.
So right there, and of course with 1 point initiative, that's 64.
Yeah.
So clearly Jarvel's in the win here if it were to go to time.
Yeah.
The question is, can Cactus attempt to at least equalise those points before the timer runs out in the round?
So number 2 scout has now fired one set of plasma missiles.
It was number 3 actually. Number 2, yes, you're right.
Yes, number 3 still has both sets left. At the very least, Jarvel, though, can get into range 1 possibly this turn. That scout number 3 is not going to want to do its white S-loop to the left because there is an asteroid right in the way.
Well, they just told me that it was actually 2 focus results, so...
So he couldn't
reroll.
Oh, no.
What a
so
time
unlucky.
to roll focus results and have no
Yeah.
focus and not be able to reroll them.
But I said, I think part of that is an artifact of doing that K-turn.
Yeah.
That I can see what it was trying to do. I'm just not convinced it was the right
No, I don't think
decision.
so.
I think he should have gone in, taken his hit, but guaranteed himself that cluster missile shot. Those cluster missiles, 4 dice, twice, with rerolls,
Would have done something.
would have done a lot of damage. Yeah. Okay, so the dials are being placed here. There is Palob, and it is just the last Nadru to go, who, remember, still has his cluster missiles. That Hawk might be in for some hurt this turn. Fantastic. So, Cactus really has to kill a ship this turn.
Yes.
If he can take out that Nadru, he might stand a chance.
That is true, because they are basically the same points.
Yeah.
So,
or even one of the scouts. See, the scouts are going to be at long range. That one's going to be at long range.
and we have a Segnors from
Yep.
number 2.
It is white, but it means that he's probably going to be out of range for anything interesting this turn. But there'll be a focus for him, because if he can, he wants to fire that second torp. That Hawk might come in.
That is quite
Might
true.
come into range.
And now, Segnors probably would collide with the croissant asteroid we see there. Number
Absolutely.
3.
So I'm predicting a 1 hard turn to the right, which is white.
It is white.
That Jumpmaster has a really good dial.
The question is, would it be too close to that Hawk?
It's possible, but
Would it
you've got
matter
to turn
too
to
much?
right.
If it was me, I would be looking to possibly target
No
the boss.
target lock.
No target lock, but that means that whatever that Hawk does, it's probably going to come into range.
Yeah, that's true. This is the point where moving after your opponent actually also comes into favour.
And what have we got here? Can't see the
We've got a
dial.
straight manoeuvre. It's probably a K-turn.
No, it
Is
looks
it-
white. It
it's
looks
white.
white.
It's what? Ooh.
No,
It is a K-turn.
K-turn. The colour hasn't come through very well. But it means no plasma torpedoes from that one this turn at the very least.
That could leave the opening for... which is actually quite smart. You don't want to give Palob a focus token for free. So
Yeah.
he's being very tactical and
Other
making
option,
sure.
if Palob does a 3 forward, he might be in range to steal the focus token from Jump Monster number 2.
That would... well...
Oh,
Ooh.
no, that's not going to be in
No,
range.
no.
Yeah, he is going to take a plasma torpedo this turn, unless Bosk runs in and Bosk is an even more tempting target.
But then on the other hand, you've got a potential plasma torpedo shot, and then worst case scenarios, you've got a 2 dice turret attack from the other one.
Yeah, that could kill him. That could take him down.
To be fair,
It's marginal, but it might.
Palob is not in a good position right now.
Yeah.
However, if he survives, and that is a very big if he survives this round, he's in a great position. The scout's heading towards him, probably at high speed. He's probably going to get act as a blocker almost, and be able to probably steal tokens if they get an
So
opportunity.
Bosk is moving slowly. He really wants... He's obviously gunning for Nadru Salak here.
Which, if Robin wants to take down that Hawk,
Yeah.
he would have banked left, or maybe even K-turned.
Now, the downside is if Nadru does forward or a right bank or turn, he might collide and not get a shot again.
Yep.
One way of denying those.
It would be a smart move by the part of Jarvel.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. You often underestimate exactly how fast those big base ships move.
Looks like he's going left here. Yes, it's 2 bank.
Oh, that is okay. So Drusalak is in trouble. However, Palob is also in trouble because those cluster missiles I predict are going to come in. Even if Bosk does damage and kills him, simultaneous fire with pilot skill 7, as Rogue Historian pointed out on the stream, on the chat, he still gets to shoot back.
That's true.
Yeah. So he's already got the target lock from previous turn. He's doing a focus. Interestingly, he's not popping his glitter stim. Actually, we don't know, do we? Because it's the combat phase it works.
Yeah,
not
what's
the
combat phase?
Yeah, as it is, he does have target lock focus for those cluster missiles.
There we go.
There's the glitter stim. Yeah. So, which does cause a stress. But I think that's worth it, given that Bosk might well kill him this turn.
That is wise. And
right, and
Palob is now activating.
The focus
so
token.
He's stealing the focus.
That's wise. Yeah, it might. So can he steal it? No, the one he really wants to take it from isn't in range, unfortunately.
Ah, shame. But at least he gets an extra focus.
He does have 2 focus tokens. That means 2 focus tokens for 2 sets of defense rolls, which might be
or an offensive roll. Given the fact that he's got Daughter Turret, he can do a range 1 shot on Nadru this round.
To guarantee a kill if he needs to before he dies. Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive.
No,
those cluster missiles and a plasma torpedo if needed, but he can probably if they take Nadru out, then at least that stops.
Well, don't forget, Palob fires before the Jump Masters do.
Yes, he does. Right.
Oh
no, he does have a target lock thanks to his K4 security droid. Yep. But that was a bad first roll.
Oh, that's not even better. That's a focus hit.
And did he focus?
He didn't, I don't think.
What action did he do then?
He does have a focus. It's hidden underneath.
So he's causing the crit.
So he's causing the crit, which probably will go to double hits.
3 hits, which he cannot stop, which means that Bosk's ability will kick in.
However, that's at damage dealing. So if he can evade, he can evade 2 at least.
One of them.
He evades 1.
Evades 1.
So
okay, so that's
the Drew taking out a 1.
Bosk's ability is going to kick in. Yep. So so Lone Wolf kicks in, still nothing there. So 1 evade, but he's then spending that crit to cause 2 hits. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 3 points of damage. Yeah.
3 points of damage.
Absolutely. Okay. So yeah, Palob will probably fire his dorsal turret, assuming he survives these cluster missiles.
Presumably.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is actually turning out to be a pretty good match.
Yeah, it's back and forth, which is what you like.
It's a good call of a game to put together.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking this. So here comes the nasty part. I'm really interested to see how this works. I've never seen a tooled up Palob tooled up Drusalak before.
Here comes the cluster missiles.
4 dice apiece. So he's rolling 8 attack dice with focuses on the lot this turn, and 1 set of guidance chips. This is going to hurt.
This is going to hurt.
I don't think we'll see any focuses left in.
Oh
God!
Oh,
yeah,
that's a dead hawk.
Nasty.
Oh no!
2 blanks as
that's
well.
4 points of damage right from the start.
And yeah, that's a dead Palob.
See, but the thing is, imagine what would have happened if this had hit the Jump Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have done so much, and as it is, oh no!
No!
Before anything else happens, was there a crit in there that killed him?
No, it was all 4.
Oh, he put taken
all 4.
Yeah.
And 4 natural as well.
Ouch! That really hurts. That is nasty.
That is really nasty.
And with the Drew not even down, this is very much in Jarvel's favour here.
Didn't even get to use that focus token.
Yeah. So then comes a range 3 shot. Luckily, not a plasma torpedo onto Bosk.
Well, 2 versus 2. There's a possibility of a hit going through.
Yeah, Bosk has the damage to tank, but he can't really afford that much. So
maybe this could be interesting. Maybe the Drew still on the board could be used as a potential blocker.
That's an evade.
Evaded, yep, absolutely. Okay.
And you're right, and the Nadru can be used as a blocker, David. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So maybe like a hard manoeuvre to try and possibly counter Bosk's effectively net minimum 3 movement that's just going to be happening from it because it's 2 from the base.
Yeah. So how much was that Palob worth? 23 points.
23 points.
So these are 4.
We know that Bosk is worth 41. So.
Yes.
No, 25 points. Yeah, but Drusalak was 25 points down.
Sorry, I meant Palob.
Palob, sorry, yeah, my apologies. Yeah, Palob was 23, so that's...
So 41, and also we got Bosk left, which is 41, so 41 points left.
Yeah, 49 down. Ouch. Very nasty.
That's not good.
Yeah. I think what's hurt Cactus here as much as anything has been his attempts to use the K4 security droid.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's a good thing, but if you let it control your positioning, that's what's hurt. And the fact that Bosk hasn't been in mutual supporting range of Palob, I think
Bosk has been pretty much out of the game. This is the only time Bosk has come into play.
Yeah.
And when he did fire,
that asteroid was a
didn't do
killer.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd probably have got a point on Nadru, and Nadru would have gone down this round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have kept Palob alive.
Yeah.
Palob could have aided Lona Gaval, get been a bit more support
Absolutely.
against the Jump Master, stop them from firing every round.
As it is, I'm interested to see what he does. My prediction, with Nadru in the way, I think he's going to try for a 3-bank. Come in, sit in the middle, guarantee that those scouts do not get their plasma torpedoes because they're too close. Remember, they are range 2 to 3. Those
you are right.
Torpedoes.
You are right because Bosk does move before Nadru.
Yeah.
It does mean that he is limited to doing a high speed maneuver.
Yeah.
I can see
but
that.
I think either a 2-bank or a 3-bank just to get into range 1, punch those guys at close range where he has the advantage, and they can't use those plasma torpedoes.
The problem is, once they get behind that YV is going to take forever to turn around.
Absolutely.
And with the signals, those jump masters
Yeah.
can turn on a dime.
But I say, if he does a stop manoeuvre, which he can do,
That is true.
and he gets a focus for it, those jump masters, one at the very least, possibly 2, will probably be in short range.
But a thing to note is that a stress underneath the top of under Bosk.
No, that's for
That's
Nadru.
Yeah, because he fired his glitter stim.
Yeah,
glitter stim causes you a stress, and in fact that can sometimes be a bit of a downside. I had that in the last tournament. One of my opponents popped glitter stims for cluster missiles, took out a couple of my ships, but then couldn't K-turn when all of mine could. Yeah. So here comes the scouts. I think he would have liked to do a 1, but that would have been on the asteroid.
Yes, I do agree there.
And then I'm predicting a 1-bank from the other scout in order to start lining up on Bosk. And yeah, you're right. Even if Bosk does get in range 1, there's a limit to how much damage he can do.
Or maybe.
And then they just white S loop behind and hit him with plasma torpedoes again.
Yep.
Especially without engine upgrade.
And at this point,
that was something I was thinking of
2-bank.
as well. Running that second scout as a blocker, so the one behind potentially gets a shot in.
Yeah.
And then do a hard manoeuvre.
Now, Bosk could do a straight manoeuvre.
But
he could.
But
And
if
he'd be
he drew
okay.
hard turns, towards us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Because he's not going to clear the stress. Nadru's
No.
clearly not going to clear the stress.
No.
The Drew moves last. The Drew moves after the
of
YV.
course.
So, what's Cactus predicted? Is it a bank? It looks like a bank to me.
It looks like something. I think it's green. It comes to the number.
Yeah.
Oh!
Interesting. That's
hard.
that's the
a
white.
bunch, so that will
Yeah.
roll straight in behind.
So
Drew,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Drew,
just shuffle, basically just shuffle along a little bit, and that's it. Yeah, so thumb, and that's basically there. So no, and it's not a red or a green, so it doesn't get any actions either. That is some good blocking from Jarvan.
Very good
Yeah,
blocking there.
really good.
I
I think that front scout may be in range 1, so no torpedoes, but the real one is going to hit hard.
And look at that. Bosk has taken 1 shield.
Yeah.
On the right, look at those. Almost equal with Bosk. 2 jump masters. Fully health, apart from this third one, which has
Okay.
taken 1 shield.
Now, interestingly, Drew has decided to keep his stress. So my prediction, I think Cactus is going to go for points here. I think he's going to try and keep taking out the Drew, rather than do some ineffective shields on those jump
Well, he
masters.
can fire at Drew with that wide 180 firing arc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Could stop. I mean, if he wants to take out the jump masters, he's got to start putting damage down now. But I think he's going to go for the points.
He's going to go for
guarantee
points.
for the kill. Yeah.
With 1 hit point, a Drew is going to go down to some focus, some degree of fire
Yeah.
at some point. Also, the fact that the Bosk has 3 versus his 2 defense dice, the odds favour
Yep.
that he'll
There
take
we
down.
go.
There we
So
go.
here he comes, trying to take the Drew down. So it's range 2 shot. Yep. And 3 dice, but no way of getting. Oh, that's bad luck.
Yes, 1
Now
hit.
it might work. He may have to roll 2 blanks or focuses.
No,
oh no!
there we go.
That is really unlucky. Very unlucky.
And of
there.
course, Nadru is going to be outside of arc next turn. Even if Robin
well,
gets
careful. Remember that 180-degree arc? He could do a turn some way there. It's a lot harder to get out of a 180-degree arc. If that scout is going to move.
But That is true. The scout will move half of the
The
scout.
other one might come in and block.
The scout may block. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
But getting out of that 180 degree arc is a lot harder than the 90.
I don't know about you guys, but I would have probably attacked that other one first.
Yeah, so here it comes.
There you go. Plasma torpedoes.
Plasma
Deadeye.
torpedoes fired with Deadeye. Focus spent, which gives him a target lock.
Yep.
Now, this number 2 is this the one with the agromech or the? Yep, it is
Yes, it's the
because
agromech,
it's the one that's firing its second set of torpedoes. So 4 dice. Ouch! And Bosco's got the shields to.
Oh, hit, crit.
Jarvel's dice have been on fire this
Yes,
game, and
just
cactuses
amazing.
haven't helped either. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
That
how
was
many?
bad
How
luck.
many? Does that take down all the shields?
That takes down all the shields. 4 points of damage and 1 shield. Yeah, the last shield. Oh, that is nasty. Yeah. So here we go. 5 shields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plasma torpedo kicks in. Yeah. Oh, this is not looking good at all, is it?
No.
He's going for the consolation prize of Nadru. If he gets Nadru, I think he'll be.
I don't think he's going to get
Does that one
Nadru.
attack twice, or is that the one that only attacks once?
What is?
Like,
No, plasma torps. Plasma torps basically when they hit, they strip off some extra shields.
Ah.
Yeah,
yeah.
after the damage, which
After
makes it
the
tricky to use because often you do the shield damage with your first hits.
Yeah.
Okay, but here we go. So here comes the last scout at range 1. So it's still getting 3 dice. That's focus. So that's 3 more hits. Ouch! Bosk is in so much trouble here. Yeah.
That's
a focus.
a focus, and
Yeah.
there's nothing to do.
3 points of damage. Not including crit, luckily. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Maybe we'll be seeing it go down.
Bosk only has another turn to survive, I think.
Well, and just put it this way. If I was Robin, I would want to be flying that Z95 as far away as possible.
Yeah.
Because, you could end up with a 90 knot.
Probably
complete
he's still
whiteout.
stressed.
He is still stressed.
I think he might actually try and take a 2 bank or a 2 forward, clear his stress and get the Jump Masters out of the way so he can re-roll those dice and have a focus action for defence.
Yeah.
I think that's a better call than trying to get to range 3. And then just hope that the re-roll and the focus is enough to tank Bosk's damage.
Look at that. Bosk's health bar was nearly full the beginning of this round, and
Yeah.
it has been emptied faster than a can of Pepsi in my hand.
This is the thing.
It's-
This is the reason why those scouts are so dominant these days. The only thing that really challenges them is Palpatine Aces.
Palpatine.
Just because they hit like a ton of bricks. They just smash you so hard at long range.
Although I've heard that the new defenders may also be very effective in taking them down.
Yes, I'll be interested to see how that goes. Yeah. I assume most people on the stream have seen the Defender preview that's coming out, but there are a couple of new titles. One of them reduces points by 2.
For the cannon slot.
And in addition, whenever you do a speed 3, 4 or 5 manoeuvre, you also get a free evade token.
Give more survivability, which is nice.
Absolutely. The other one, it costs a couple of points, or is it free or costs a couple of
It
points?
costs a couple of points, but it also makes your cannon... You're going to equip a cannon that is...
3 points or
3
less.
points or less.
You fire it in addition to your main guns.
And you also fire it before you fire your primary.
Yeah. So tractor beams.
Tractor beams.
So one of them really uppowers your defense as long as you go fast. The other one really uppowers your attack as long as you have a cheap cannon equipped.
Also, isn't the first ship we have that has 2... That's not like a big ship that has 2 titles.
Is he going?
Hello? Is he,
can
is
he-
he
I
trying
don't
for
think.
a signal?
I don't think
No.
he can make it.
No.
But it might still block Bosk.
Could still do.
Yeah.
Especially if it's tied up with the second contracted scout doing a pretty similar move.
Yeah. Drew might just get out of arc after all. I take it back. Yeah. If he's predicted that, that could work
Let's
very
see.
well.
I think that's how it... Oh,
So he,
covering arcs somewhat, even though you don't really need to.
yeah, that's a good block position for a sort of forward or maybe a bank manoeuvre. He's out of torpedoes now as well, so he's basically a gunship. He doesn't worry
that's what he
about
is.
arcs.
Yeah, it's the third one that actually has all its plasma torps still there.
Yep, and Bosk is doing a can't tell what that is. One. So he'll get a free target lock. But
That's something.
yeah, but it means that Nadru's going to get out of arc if he's predicted that and done a hard 2 or hard 3 turn to the right.
Yeah, agreed.
Even keeping the stress, that's worth it.
Yeah, I completely agree. It means he keeps him alive, but if the game does go to time, or if number 2 scout does manage to kill Bosk, then he's come out with a 100-point victory.
Absolutely.
Well,
Or
90-point victory.
Yeah.
That's the thing when you play an escalation.
Yeah,
the
yes.
natural 100 naught comes into mind. You go, no,
Yeah,
it's not.
no, it's not.
So where does Nadru go?
I think
Is
it's
that
a 3
hard
turn. Ooh.
Because that's the green, so he
It's
clears his
green,
stress.
yeah.
Is it far enough to get him out of... I think it is, yeah.
I don't know. I think it clips just the back corner.
I don't think it does.
We'll soon find out. But
yeah, that's right on the numbers.
It
might be the one thing that gives Bosk a chance. So he's taking a target lock on Bosk. Might as well. Interesting, he's not going for the focus.
No.
So that indicates
I would
that
have
he is
too.
clear for the defence. Yeah.
Or he thinks he is.
Yeah. Well, at least at the very least, Bosk doesn't have a shot either. Sorry, doesn't have an action. Yeah.
Bosk
So
is firing
obviously
the
they must have
contractor scout.
decided that he is out of arc there.
Yeah.
Okay. Got the scout at range
Range
2 because that template does fit in there. Excuse me. Okay, so it's only 3
There we
attack
go.
dice.
There's
That
hit,
is at
hit,
least 3 natural hits. That's the first time that's come up for Cactus, I think.
Well, at least they get him a point of damage as well.
Yeah.
Not that it
Evade. Focus. He's going to spend the focus token. He doesn't have to fire torpedoes anymore. Yeah.
So
I must say, I think the dice have really favoured Jarvel in this
they
game.
have in this game.
Yeah. The sheer number of natural hits he's got, maximum hits with his torpedoes and cluster missiles, has just been so damaging. And here comes the scout back. Yep, only shot from Jarvel this turn. So at least Bosk will survive another turn, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
With the crits.
One hit and crits.
Is that?
That's a crit, I believe.
That could actually kill him. I may have
Possible. We
spoken
can't
too
see.
soon.
We can't see.
Yeah.
Both go through.
Both go through. Or is it?
Direct hit!
No! That's game. Oh.
And weapons
weapons
failure.
failure.
Now it's
2
arbitrary. The
crits.
ship is dead.
Oh no.
Oh, that one time you don't want that car to come up in your deck, and
Yeah.
it does.
So that is really bad for Cactus. That is a clearance for Jarvel. I wouldn't be surprised if he's top of the lists now.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really
or
impressive.
very close to
He was
it.
already ranked 2 or in
the top ranks, so we don't know for sure because of the matchups. But yeah, that is really, really nasty.
That
It
was
just
a
illustrates
sweep.
the power of those scouts.
Just 2 of them, and we've heard about for 3 coming on the board as well, and that's
Yeah.
incredible.
At the same time, I think Jarvel was probably the better flyer there, especially that first meeting turn where Cactus did the K turn with Drew. I'm still not sure why that was done.
Nor am I.
And didn't do a fast turn in with Bosk to try and get into range. That was the key turn there, I think.
I completely agree there.
The fact his Nadru went down without firing those custom missiles was the really hard part.
And Nadru was a waste of points
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Cactus entirely, and
It was 2 points for the one extra munition. And that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, sorted. So yeah, can we find out how much time we got in the round?
Yes, I will. I'll go investigate.
So you were talking about the defenders, weren't you?
Yes. So the defender, it's been talked about for a while that they're good ships. They're just a
Missing
little bit
something.
too expensive
Yeah.
for what they do, or they don't
Yeah.
have enough. And I think I really like the way FFG have done it. It's not an auto take card. You've got to choose one or the other. You either buff your defence or you buff your attack.
I like that that there are 2 title cards for this one little ship.
Yeah.
And you have to choose, and they're very situational. And
Yeah.
also, I like the fluff. As someone who's played the X-Wing game, as in the X-Wing
Oh, absolutely.
simulation game.
TIE Fighter and
TIE
X-Wing Alliance
yes.
and so on. Massive
TIE,
fans of
TIE
those.
Defenders actually did have a tractor on that. So
Yeah.
it's nice and thematic to that.
Yeah. Do you reckon if this is finished ahead of time, I think, do you reckon we can get one of the players in here for a
I think
chat?
that'd be a great idea.
Fantastic. If so, should we see if we can get both of them in here?
That'd be great.
Simultaneously or concurrently?
Let's get them simultaneously.
Yeah, I'd be interested in getting their thoughts on their lists and what they actually did there. So I think that'd be an interesting discussion, particularly with regards to those scouts, because those scouts are really turning into such a popular list these days.
Agree. Depends how much time we've got left. If we've got time, we'll bring them
Yeah.
through. If not, we'll just continue to talk about things going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
People in the forum, people in the chat or in the forums, anything you'd like to see,
Yeah.
let us know. We've got a bevy of lists in front of
Yeah.
us that we can choose between.
Yep.
And we're ready to run anything. The thing we haven't got is a ghost, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And any phantoms today?
We have got some phantoms on the field. Perhaps we'll see them later. How long have we got?
We've roughly got about 25 minutes.
Can we
so-
get the players
go.
in here?
Yeah,
grab
why
them,
not?
see
There
what
we
they
go.
see what they think.
10 minutes chat with the players, then we can discuss
Yeah.
the rest of the upcoming Imperial veterans.
I think
and maybe,
so.
maybe even theorise about what maybe Rebel veterans will have.
Yes, that's also a really interesting topic of discussion. Generating a lot of chat on the FFG forums.
Yeah. I know people kind of theorise because, we've got May the 4th coming up soon.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping they'll announce something on that day because we've not heard anything about the next wave. We know Imperial veterans are coming.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we're probably going to I think we'll get something announced and that'll be out at Gen Con.
Yeah. What are you holding out for? What new ship would you like to see?
What new ship? Well, for one of each. For Rebels, I'd like to see...
The Rebels have kind of run out of all the obvious choices, haven't they?
I want to see... I don't know the official ship designation. Hello.
They'll be on their way through in a minute.
I don't know the
Fantastic.
official ship designation. I want to see the Raven's Claw.
Ah, yes, Kyle Katarn's other ship.
Yes, the upgraded
That
ship.
could be quite an interesting one to see.
I-
Thing is, would it have to be more of a support ship?
No, because in the game it really was played as an attack ship in a way.
Fantastic. Right, well, here are players. I'll move out the way so you can grab some seats.
Please do take seats, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. So Robin on the left, Jarvan on the right. Sorry, Jarvan on the left and Captain on the right. So that was an interesting match.
Brutal.
We thought you had it clinched from the start in a way with how you your opening gambit, and then it just all fell apart.
Yeah. So the strategy of using Andrew running away to get the distance to trigger the special abilities and kind of bait the opponent in. It's not a good idea when you're baiting a pair of jump masters with plasma torpedoes.
Yes.
Yes. What we were
He
saying.
just went, okay, I'll take the bait. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you very much.
What we were saying on the chat was that the key turn would be that first run in. Jarvel,
Yeah.
your jump masters really want to be at range 3.
Yeah.
And Cactus, you wanted to be at range 2 or preferably 1.
Yeah.
The Gem Masters at range 3, the torpedoes work just as well. At range 2 or range 1, Cactus is Lone Wolf with the cluster missiles and the Drusalak, and Palagadali's ability all kick in. And your dorsal turret all kick in.
Yeah.
And we thought when both Palagadali and Nadrusalak were at range just outside range 3, and Jarvan couldn't fire his plasma torpedoes that turn, we thought you had it in the bag. What happened?
So I probably should have. And Drew should have either turned left into the centre of the field sooner,
Yep.
which would have pulled the jump masters towards my ships, and I'd have been in range to steal the focus token.
Yep.
That was a problem. Or just K-turned a turn sooner and kind of hugged my board edge, and again pulled the jump masters down, but perhaps not actually been in range of them.
Yeah.
As it was, I kind of pushed it too far, and then chose not to glitter stim because I didn't want to stack 2 stress on a Z95 because he'd never
Understand.
get around
Yeah,
the asteroids
understand.
again.
You were,
But that would have saved his life, and that potentially got a shot
It
back
would have
next
saved his
turn.
life, and it meant that because it meant that the Drew would have been doing something. Because at the end of the game, the Drew
it
did nothing.
No.
Which
was
is a shame.
so unlucky though with
This-
that dice roll.
Oh.
It's like,
Yeah,
if
your
you've
dice
got
rolls
anything
all
other
game
than,
was
than like
good
double
one way,
focus.
bad the other. It
Yeah.
was just
And conversely, Jarvel, your dice rolls with your torpedoes and missiles just seem to be on fire.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
That double crit on Bosk at the end of the game,
Yes.
I kind of felt summed the whole thing up.
Yeah. Almost every single shot you take seemed to result in 2 or 3 or 4
And
hits.
I'd done the sums drawing the cards. I knew that if the crits weren't direct hits, he'd still be in the game for another turn. He'd
Yeah.
even cripple.
And then
And
we
then the
saw
first
that
card.
first one.
That's it.
Oh no.
Okay. But yeah, I scuppered myself a bit with Bosk as well though, because I didn't manoeuvre very well.
We saw you
the,
land
Yes.
on the
the screen I'm
asteroid.
looking at is a different angle from how I saw it.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
you just put
That's one,
you
yeah.
just put the asteroid up here in the corner.
Exactly.
where
If
it
I'd gone
was.
for the 2 bank,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got the free target lock, but I'd been able to shoot.
Well, one thing we said is that
Be
you
more
you,
useful.
you let the K. You said this very
Yeah.
good. The K4 really hammered you into the ethos of doing a green maneuver every time, and it meant that it restricted your movement in many ways. That was a
A
problem. which we
little,
saw.
but actually, it was the turns where I didn't pick a green manoeuvre that I should have done. That turn where I
Yeah.
did the 3 turn and bumped into a jump master.
Yes.
I was pretty sure I'd probably bump something somewhere. So I should have just chosen the green manoeuvre, picked up the free target lock, and accepted that I'd have no control over my final position.
Or do a red manoeuvre.
Or do a
and
red
have
manoeuvre
focus.
to get the focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
In game 1, funnily enough, Bosk hardly did any green manoeuvres. Because he was accelerating away from 3 TIE advanced prototypes most of the time. Trying to preserve his last hull point.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Okay. Jarvel, what about you? Your thoughts on that match?
Well, obviously I'm very pleased with the outcome.
Yeah, well, that'll
there-
put you near the top of the rankings, won't it?
My Nadru should not have survived. Like I was
One whole point.
one hull
Yes.
point. It just speaks to how bad Cactus's dice rolls were at points that I managed to keep a one-hull Z95 alive in the face of Bosk's firepower, because that's no small amount.
Yeah.
You could see when it was you clearly were not going to win. You were going to try and play for points and get Nadru, and you could tell that you were doing everything in your power to prevent the firing arcs from bearing.
And that's probably why that 3 hard came into play, because that's what you were trying to do, I think. And then you got drawn into the, I need to kill this Nadru right here, right now. Yeah. I'll do a big manoeuvre and then get stumped.
Yeah. I mean, I think Cactus did absolutely the right thing with the asteroid deployment, like blocking off that right-hand edge of the board forces the jump masters into a less favourable deployment for them, because you want that ability to be turning left for the whole game, basically. So that line of asteroids pushed me into doing something that I regarded as suboptimal in terms of like my opening setup, because really I wanted the 2 jump masters down that bottom right corner with Nadru like heading off along the board edge to then like turn in and engage, but it seemed to work out.
That asteroid I placed, I drove onto it.
Oh no! We've all done that.
I can't deny it. It's that big brown bus, the YV6. It catches on everything.
Space brick in space.
What were you two thinking when you comprised your list? Let's start with you first.
So, I'm a massive fan of the Jump Master. Admittedly, the Contracted Scout is my secondary form of it. I much prefer flying Dengar, but you can't fit a good Dengar build into an escalation list without really cutting corners at some point. So I thought I would take a full ordnance list out for a spin, mostly based on the fact that I'd got some extra munition tokens.
Bit of pride going there.
And the rest of the list kind of came from there. I've always thought that Nadru Salak is a massively powerful pilot. Even if you're just flying him 19 points with just his basic pilot ability and Lone Wolf, he does so much more than any regular Z95 does. And he messes with your opponent's targeting priority, because you can ignore him, but he's still a lot of punch. I mean, as he demonstrated, he was able to like basically one-shot a hawk. And
you didn't even need the second custom missile shot, did you?
No.
I've forgotten that.
Definition of overkill right there.
Yes.
I killed it so hard I didn't need my second attack. It's like one hit with a twin laser turret. Oh, I've just killed him the first one. The second one goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Contracted Scout, though. It does do a lot for its points. Admittedly, I've got an slightly asymmetric loadout on them, in that one of them's got the R4 Agromech.
One's got the overclocked astromech.
The overclocked, yeah. Just because I was 1 point short. But having said that, since I've been playing with the overclocked, it does do a surprising amount. Specifically, it means you can have a defensive focus as well as an offensive focus, which really steps up the Jump Master's survivability and means that your chances of shooting both of your torpedoes go up quite substantially, I think.
I never really thought about that, personally.
Yeah.
What about your composition then?
Now, of course, the downside is it does give you stress. Sorry to just jump in there, doesn't it?
It's true, but there's that nice block of turning left green.
Yes, but it does restrict your white S loop.
It's true.
It means you can't fire your torpedoes the next turn, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and it'll be interesting to see whether that holds out throughout the rest of the tournament.
Yes.
Notable in that game, that was the ship that didn't get to fire any torpedoes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah. But both of you have Nadrus that are built very much, I think, the exact same.
Identical.
Yes. Identical.
We were saying that we were trying to figure out which one was the clone, and we realised the one flying his right
obviously mine's
ship
the
was the
original.
original.
Don't know who this Black Sun imposter was. He did all right.
Congratulations, that's a fantastic paint job, and thank you for sharing it with the camera.
And that is a beautiful ship. Like I saw that up on the other side, and I was just like, it would be a shame to shoot at this almost.
So someone has commented on the stream that the key was Jarvel sacrificing one of his dice to Zinch before the game.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like Jarvel, I think Andrew's a fantastic pilot. He's got a good ability. It synergies well with Lone Wolf, which makes him fairly independently survivable. And then there's some superb things you can do now with missiles and illicit slots.
There are, yes, and one of the things we've been talking about is the renaissance in ordnance. I don't
Everybody seems to have some today.
I don't suppose it's renaissance because ordnance was never that good to start with.
Well, there's always a believer in the ordnance, and that was with Toby, who we saw on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
So I think we both came up with the same Andrew build because it's obviously things that mesh together well. For a long time when I was working out this list, I did actually have concussion missiles on and Drew, because I wasn't confident I could get the target lock and the range 1 shot to launch the cluster missiles without telegraphing it a turn in advance and getting him shot.
Yes.
And then I was shuffling some points around on Wednesday night, which is why I missed the live stream. And thought, if I take the glitter stim away from Talonbane Cobra and give it to Andrew, that solves all of my close engagement missile firing problems, because I just get focused on everything for a turn.
It does, yes. Now, of course, again, that focus is that stress means that you can't K-turn next turn.
Once you've launched your cluster missiles, I don't think you care, do you?
I look at Nadru as 25 points to get 7 to 8 points of damage through, and then whatever happens after that point happens. Though having said that, even once he's discharged his munitions, if your opponent then starts ignoring him because he's not got any missiles anymore, he's still throwing out 3 dice if he's like getting all of his benefits with like dice modification, or 4 dice if he gets into range 1, and it's quite easy for people to neglect Nadru.
Absolutely.
Let him drift into range 1 and then suddenly find that they're effectively dealing with this huge like X-wing level of firepower being poured.
Absolutely, because when he's got when he's not within range of friendlies, he's a Z95 that hits like an X-wing, isn't he?
Yeah. Which was how I used him in my first game. There wasn't enough points there for Bosk and Andrew and some fancy missiles, so it was just Andrew with Lone Wolf.
Yep.
And Bosk just went barrelling up and round the board. And Drew was kind of coming in behind him, just being a threat. And go on, you can chase Bosk if you want. I'm going to come in behind you. Pew, pew, pew.
Power gives you a lot of control on the list as well, especially with the dorsal turret. You have versatility there. It doesn't matter where you point him, he can steal opponents' tokens, debuffing them.
You've got to get him close enough.
Got to get him close enough.
Yeah.
But
did Palob? Jarvel, I've got a question to ask you. Did Palob control your Jumpmaster's movement at all? Were you aware of or actions? Were you aware of what
he
his ability
definitely
was?
had an impact. It's why I tore up that far side of the board, because to be completely honest, at my 120 points a Palob variant gets loaded into my list, so I was very aware of what he can do. So I was like, I need to keep out of range 2, and it's why the Jumpmaster on the second, third turn of movement that was on the right hand side went for the target lock, because I didn't want to feed Palob any focus tokens. I didn't want to. So it definitely had an impact, and it also made me a bit more willing to then K-turn that scout on the basis that Pal was going to be in a position to take his focus token anyway, so why not go for the positional advantage at that point?
Okay. So I suppose the next question is, if you had to replay that game again, what would you do? How would you approach it?
Hope my dice roll like that again.
That's what we all hope for at the end of the day, isn't it?
I think I would probably deploy the same, possibly tuck and Drew in a little closer to the rest of my ships, because I'm enjoying the 4 forwards first turn opener,
run along the back edge,
but it sometimes puts him actually a bit too far away.
You want him to be far away for his ability to kick in, close enough to get some help.
I would start him closer to my ships, accelerate away, and then probably move into the middle, or just K-turn and come back again. But yeah, Palob and Bosk did what I wanted them to. I just didn't do it very well, with not being in range to steal a focus token, overlapping the asteroid, which lost me a turn of shooting.
Okay. And I suppose, what goes into your list next?
So at 120 points, I'm adding in Palob with a dorsal turret, Predator, Zuckuss and Moldy Crow at 30 points.
Nice.
Or, hopefully again, messing with people's targeting priorities. He's not that big a threat in and of himself, but at the same time, he's throwing out heavily modified dice. He's potentially taking focus off people to stop them from spending focus or evades, to stop them from spending tokens offensively.
Absolutely.
And then even if you're shooting at something with 3 or 4 green dice, the fact that you can suddenly stack 3 or 4 stress on the ship to force them to re-roll all of that means that 2 dice attack is potentially quite powerful and potentially quite useful for things like popping a stealth device off someone.
Absolutely.
We'll see how it works in practice, but
in theory it sounds good.
And your list, Cactus, what do you have next?
So it's not the Talonbane Cobra that I mentioned in passing a few minutes ago. Having given his glitter stim to Andrew, I realised that was Talonbane plus Predator was 31 points that could be spent on something more fun, probably more effective as well. So I've gone for the Mist Hunter, piloted by Forlorn, carrying Zuckuss for the same reason that Joel's chosen him.
Yes.
And then a fire control system rounding out the points. Oh, and obviously adaptability, which brings his pilot skill up to 7, so it matches Bosk and then Drew, so I could fire the tractor beam at any point in the firing sequence of my important players, rather than after them, where it would be less useful.
Have you practiced with the tractor beam at all?
Only on the X-Wing benchmark site against artificial stupidity.
Yes, we've been playing around with that a fair bit.
And unfortunately that's not been coded with the errata, so it does make the tractor beam movement mandatory.
Okay.
But there were quite a few times I was practicing on that and going, actually I just want to do the minus agility.
Yes.
Your position's fine, I've lined up the shots, fine.
Yes.
Stay where you are, please.
Yeah,
I think
And be easier to
We
hit.
saw some brilliant use of it on Wednesday.
Yes,
Yes.
very impressive.
yeah, definitely.
I saw that.
And we thought, what was it? We thought. I'm trying to remember who was playing then. One of the players.
Chris and Toby.
Yes, that's right. We
Because
thought.
Toby had it on Boba.
Yeah, we thought Chris was actually flying ever so slightly better, but Toby's tractor beam use was better. He's better at flying his opponent's ships almost.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what swung it for him, putting things in range to shuttle and things like that. Some really good things. So if you watch that, then you've probably got a good idea about the kind of things
I
that are
learned a
available.
lot about intentional bumping. from that as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both for joining us. We wish you both
Thank you.
tremendous luck throughout the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
And hope you do well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Oh,
Absolutely.
one last thing, Jarvel, can I borrow your dice, please?
Cheeky.
Yeah, nice flight, and perhaps we'll see one or more of you on the stream again later at some point.
Always hoping.
Jarvan
Good
in
luck.
particular, I think
Right.
you've got
Thank you.
you'll be right near the top of the tables, if not the top at the moment.
we'll see.
Good luck, gentlemen. Well, that was quite an interesting interview that we had.
So thank you to our two contestants there for coming in and chatting. I mean, the end result doesn't really illustrate what was going on, at least in the early stages of that match, does it?
No. I mean, the setup did more in Cactus's favour, but then it just all fell apart. You know,
Yeah.
Once he clipped the asteroid, and the Drew did the K-turn, it
Yeah.
then swung completely out of his favour.
Yeah. If Nadro had done that turn in, and if Bosk had got into range and turn in, not landed on the asteroid, that could have been a entirely different result we're talking about there. So just goes to show. But that's one of the key things about X-Wing. It is actually tactical decisions. What you choose to do, your choice of manoeuvres and actions, really has a big impact on what's going on here.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
So, we still got time before the next round begins.
Well, actually, there's a lunch break after this.
There's lunch break.
Yeah.